it is an outdated sign. We wanted to bring a much more modern, elegant sign. This one doesn't speak to what we're trying to create with the new project. So what we've designed is something much more elegant. It is about the same size in a different location, and it does have an LED component. It really is the way signs are going. It allows for only on-site advertising, so it's only really for the businesses and the commerce, if you will, on the site. And so we think this is a much more elegant sign. If you look at where we're proposing to put it, it's right on this. This is again the south of Rinaldi, right there, so that it really becomes a freeway visible sign. So John, if you flip to the next one, here is you can see it on the lower left. This is again an image from our video that we'll show you in a moment, that shows the orientation of that sign relative to the building. And if you go to the next one, and again, this is a 2-scale rendering of what we think that sign would, where that sign would, how it would be viewed from the 118. I brought this in because Simi Valley Town Center, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have been at Simi Valley. They're actually in the process of constructing 2 new freeway signs. Here, one on either side. It's very similar in size, it's very similar in style, and so they really, they're in the process now. If you go out there now, they're putting the poles up. So we think what our signage is much more akin to this type of sign, not to what we have existing. So we think it's a real upgrade. So I will touch base on the specific plan. This map on the right represents the land that is governed. The land use is governed by what began in 1990, the specific plan. It is, and you'll see the orange section. That is what is called the community center area. And so we are, as Councilman Englander had mentioned, this established a lot of uses, and I want to show you sort of where we stand in terms of what we're actually going to build compared to what was approved in the specific plan. It's a lot less. This is the outline, generally speaking, of our project. Where it lies, you can see it's really in the heart of the community center. And this is, I don't want to spend a lot of time on facts and figures, but on the left is what was proposed, or permitted, I should say, and adopted in the specific plan in terms of the maximum building area. So it's 2 million square feet, we'll call it. We're at, and John, to go back to that for just a second, we're 2 million square feet. For this project, we're about 350,000. So we're substantially less than what was permitted at the time, but we think it's a more appropriate scaled project. Traffic, there have been numerous traffic studies. The 1990 plan really established a lot of off-site traffic improvements that would be required to be built and have been built as Porter Ranch built out. We will go through a process to verify what the current traffic situation is, what our impact will be, whether we fall within reasonable limits. We are going to have 2 signals, one off of Porter Ranch Drive that will link this project to where Toys R Us is, and one off of Rinaldi. So there will be additional signals involved. So this is an ongoing process, but we feel that we are going to be at or actually we think well below what the approved counts are for traffic. But if there's questions on traffic, we're certainly willing and able to kind of talk about that. And then this is on the north side again, parking. This is comparing where we were in 2010, because some people are familiar with that. We think a smaller project is more appropriately sized. We think that we can get the theater seat down. We think the parking is going to be roughly the same. We're adding energy efficient parking and long-term bike parking we didn't have before. So from a parking standpoint, it's the same or more, but in terms of the demand, we're not building as much, so it's going to be a much more comfortable parking situation. In terms of timing, so in 2015, we are going through some technical steps. That's began with we have a tentative map submittal. I won't go into all the technical issues, but we are in the city now. So the city, we're in the application. We've begun the application process. There are a number of steps that we have to go through. The city has to verify that what we're proposing meets all of the criteria that it's supposed to, so they have to go through that process. It takes some time. We're anticipating this month, September, to make our, what we call the planning submittal. It's a little bit more detailed than the map. It has, it goes into more land uses, design, landscape design. And then we're expecting and hopeful that by the end of this year we'll have tentative map approval. And then going into 2016 is when our process will continue with city permitting and design review. That's really when we're going to be heavy into those elements. We're projecting a construction start in the second half of next year. So we think this whole process will take at least a year to get through all those steps and be prepared with enough leasing, with enough with our permits from the city to be prepared to begin construction. So we're still a year off. I wish I could say we were much closer, but it's a year off, and that's working hard every day. And we think the grand opening then is about a year to a little bit longer than a year later, depending on how you define grand opening. But it takes us a while to build. It takes us a while to tenants to get it open. So we're really looking at getting this thing established late 17, early 18 in terms of when this is going to be, we project it to be up and running. So here's a quick recap. So, and again, these are some of the things that you will see, some of the things you won't see in the video, but the community room, the town green, those are really highlighted in the video, so I think you'll really see those. Programmable spaces, you'll see that in wide sidewalks. And what you see in the video those are examples of things that can go in there, but it's not yet fully refined. It's really a programmable element that needs still some refinement. Wide walkways, patio, sheltered patio seating areas. You'll see a lot of umbrellas in the video. We're aware of the wind here, so we know that we have to be mindful of the wind. In fact, we hired a wind consultant, and we designed this in many ways to shelter the prevailing winds in the winter so that it creates as little wind impact as possible. And some of the other amenities, I mean, things that you'll see. I mean, one of the things that you'll see is or that you won't see is that we have on-site water filtration and recycling. So obviously the drought is foremost in everyone's minds almost every day. And the only grass that you'll see in our renderings is on the town green itself. Everything else is low water. We will recycle water and use it, capture it on site and recycle it for use on the project. So let's get to the video. So what this, as John, as you go through these arrows, and you can go through it a couple of times. These arrows are meant to reflect when we do the video and we're doing the fly-through. This is the path that the video will take. So it kind of gives you an orientation. It kind of brings you up through the project from over the 118 freeway up north, and then orients you to really take a look through this east-west pedestrian access point, and then out to the corner. And we can show it. I think what we'll do is we'll show it once, and then I'll show it again, and I'll narrate it a little bit so you can kind of take a look at it. We will have a TV at the end where we'll just put it on a loop. So if you wanted to stay in afterwards, you can kind of look at it. And really what the intent of this video is to I've said a lot of words. And the video, I think, is meant to give a sense for what